My shoes have bad traction though, so on the slippery parts I'll have to slow down. I have shoes with arch support, but they're not very good for anything else. On the first trip, we did see several bats flying around, like in the very last room. What's it called? The cathedral room?
You'll probably see that again. Yeah. Who was your tour guide at first?
Oh shoot, I forgot his name.
Oh, it was a guy?
Yeah, it was okay.
You'll have to tell me if I'm better than Dylan.
Well, we've talked about different formations so far, so that's one reason I'm going twice, is so we have
I never give
learn different things.
I never ever give the same tour twice.
There's more of that green stuff. You never. So what exactly is the green?
It's moss. I'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. So it's from the artificial lighting, right? Stuff growing in here.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I went to a tourist cave one time. They had lights like this, but they left them on all the time. So they had ferns growing by every light. It was real pretty. But
yeah, we turn them off every night.
Right. Well, I think they said they're going to switch to LEDs too, because LEDs won't support that.
Correct.
Is this where we're stopping? Oh yeah, I know.
All right. All right, everyone, congratulations. You made it to the dome room. Now, the dome room is not only the second room on the tour, but it's the second tallest room on the tour as well. This dome that you're looking at right now is 85 feet tall. Wow. Now, when geologists look at a dome like this one, they refer to it as a breakdown dome, which basically means that this dome was broken down, carved out, and created while the cave was asleep under the ocean. Hot carbonic acid would have been rising up through this room, carving out the dome, breaking down the limestone, and forcing that limestone debris to the floor. Now, as the tectonic plates collided and pushed this whole area up, rainwater was now moving into the cave. And that rainwater was running over all of the limestone debris, drawing out the calcium, depositing carbon dioxide from the water, and precipitating a layer of calcite crystal on top of that debris, known as flowstone. Now, flowstone is called flowstone because it resembles the flow of the water. And no, this isn't dirt or dirty, it's crystal. Flowstone is actually the most abundant form of crystal in our cave, and in addition to that, it grows the fastest as well. Because while every single thing above our heads grows at 1 inch per every 100 years, flowstone like this here grows at 4 inches per every 100 years. Now, if you look off to the right, you can see what is known as the Thompson Tunnel. Now, if all had gone as planned in the 1950s, you and I would be making our way up a nice cement staircase up through this room and into the rest of the tour. However, when the original construction workers that dynamite blasted this entire area that you see got to the top up there, they sat down to take a lunch break. They were super full after their lunch, so they decided to take a nap. Now they pressed their ear against the wall, and what do you think they heard right on the other side? A river. They heard the sound of rushing water right on the other side of that wall. Now, as you can imagine, this was both intriguing but mostly alarming to those men. So they packed down their drills and marched down, blasting in a different direction, avoiding this area of the cave forever. Now, you noticed how it's pretty dry outside, right? But it's wet inside the cave. Now, how is that possible? Well, it's made possible by things just like what's behind that wall there. Water pockets. And these water pockets are all around us behind these walls. And they are the reservoirs for the cave, because these water pockets collect the rainwater during the wet season and move it into the cave during the dry, so that no matter how dry it gets outside this cave, these crystals, these formations will always have water. Because repeat after me, where water flows, crystal grows.
Where water flows, crystal grows.
And just like that, you're geologists, cavers and geologists in one single day. I'm very impressed with you. Now, water is moved into the cave from those water pockets through pores in the limestone. P-O-R-E-S, pores like our skin. And these pores act like the highways and the byways that move that water all around us. Sometimes, however, something will stand right between that water pocket and those limestone pores. And when that happens, you get a wall like this one right behind me. What is this wall missing, friends?
Calcite crystal.
Correct. Calcite crystal. Because there is something above this wall, like a compact clay or dirt deposit, that's not allowing that water to move into the cave, making this area of this room and any area that you see just like this one a dead area. Not because someone died, I promise, but because there's no geological life that will ever be allowed to precipitate in this area. Now, I have given you guys a ton of information, so it makes sense if you had some questions. Perfect. That is actually a dead end. It goes up about another 7 feet.
The formation, like it's right there on the left.
Oh, this guy right here?
Yeah, right there.
That is cave coral. So, or corallite is its scientific name. Corallite is formed when there's a constant, steady breeze that's flowing through a concentrated area of the cave, allowing that crystal to precipitate, or that type of calcite crystal. Great question, yes?
So why is there right there if we're not really able to go up there?
So you can see, for perspective, just how far up it goes. Because a lot of people see that and they go, oh my gosh, how far up does that go? But just right there, it stops right there. All right, now before we move on, I'm going to show you my favorite thing in this room, and that's the inside of a stalactite. Now, these various rings of color that you can perceive here tell us a story similar to the rings of a tree trunk, because while the rings of a tree trunk represent time, the rings of color in this crystal tell us of the water's purity over time. So if you look more towards the center, towards the genesis of this stalactite, you can see that the water that was moving into the cave during that time period was more acidic, based on the fact that the crystal that has precipitated through is more brown. But the further out you work your way from the center, you can tell that the water that's moving into the cave is very pure, because the crystal that has precipitated is clear, pearlescent, and white. And I know what you're thinking. You know, this formation didn't crack down and knock me in the head. It was cut for scientific research so that we could date it. And this formation that you're looking at was once 10 feet in length and dated at 435,000 years old. Pretty young, if you ask me. All right, now we are going to work our way down this staircase off to the right.